So I walk in the locker room, I bend down, hey. I'm like fiddling with my locker like, come on, I gotta get out of here. Like, I only got 15 minutes. I get my locker open. I literally went like, pulled it down to open it. And I hear, what's up, Johnson family? My name is Cedric. Hope you guys are all having a great day. If you're not having a great day, stick around, boo. I got you. We're about to have some fun. So I haven't uploaded a video at all in like a month. And this is the reason why. So we're about to just dive in. There's just so much to unpack here. I'm gonna try to make it as quick as I can. I wanted to put this video out because I knew it would be entertaining, because like my misery is your pleasure or whatever. And at the same time, like if you're looking for this job or you're interested in having a job like this in the future, I want people to be educated, and I have the information to help form a decision or something. And if you would like to see more of my face when the story is over, please do not hesitate to subscribe. I would genuinely appreciate it. And besides that, I'm ready. And if you guys are ready, let's get into the story time. All right, so, wait, actually, I need some water or something. I'm thirsty. Okay, so if you are a longtime subscriber of my channel, you know that like YouTube is like my main thing. It pays all my bills and everything is good in that area. But I came to the realization that like, I wanted more money. I had some free time on my hands, so I was willing to get a job and to basically just kind of do like manual labor. And while YouTube, the money is cool and it pays my bills, it's not excessive amounts of money. And so I just thought, I have free time. This is a seasonal position. I can just go ahead and do this for a little bit, save some money up, and then, you know, go from there. So I came across Amazon. Now, I've always looked at Amazon as like a positive company, not even because like they have just done all these positive things, just because I order from Amazon a lot, my family orders from them a lot, and most of the people that I know order from Amazon like all the time. And so I just always assumed that Amazon was like a decent company. But when I started like looking up information about like the job and what it would entail and stuff, I started to see a lot more negative reviews and just like comments about their business practices and like they like treat you like slaves. Like I basically went through and found all of Amazon's like dirt, all their tea, and basically just like
still decided to work there because I was like, it can't be that bad. I just need some money. It's whatever. Only a couple of weeks, seasonal. I'll be fine.
So when it came to actually getting the job, it was a very, very smooth process. Like there was no interview. Usually I'm used to like filling out an application, there may be like an online quiz or assessment, and then you get calls for an interview, you go in, sit down, have the interview, and then you may or may not get the job. Like that's usually how this process works. Amazon is like, no, we need people right now. We don't care what you do, what you are about. Like we just want you to be here to work and then to go home. Literally, like there was no interview process. Like you fill out the application, you do the online assessment for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then you get an email basically saying this is your contingent offer of employment or whatever, and then you accept, and then you have your drug test, and you start the job. So yeah, there was no like middleman, there was no extra like beef in the sandwich. It wasn't like, you know how jobs always be like,
why do you want to work here?
Girl, I need money. Like,
where do you see yourself in the company in like 5 years or so?
I see myself making money and trying to survive. Like, what do you want me to say? So I was like, cool, that sounds fine with me. Money, I'm good. The hiring process was one of the biggest positives that I found in the company. It was very, very quick, very, very seamless. They also gave us information like, you know, if we are given overtime, what our pay is gonna be, what our hours are gonna be, our break information, how we are allowed like 15 minutes every like 2 to 4 hours, something like that, of breaks. And then we get our lunch and like whatever, basically telling us what the breaks rooms were, giving us the rundown, giving us a tour of the facility, like all that good stuff happened during the orientation day. And so basically they told us that we would be working 4 days on, 3 days off. 4 days for 10 hours a day, so 40 hours a week, and then we get 3 days of just rest or whatever before we have to be back at the warehouse. They also told us like, because this is like peak season where everyone's buying Christmas presents and everything, like it's just gonna be a lot of items that need to be pushed out to customers. And so we would have a mandatory overtime day. And so my mandatory overtime day was Friday, which means that I was working 5 days a week at 10 hours. It wasn't super exciting when I heard it the first time, but I was like, honestly, I have some free time, money, you know, I still will have 2 days off to just kind of relax and do what I need to do, and maybe just to record and edit and get things out, maybe like record all the videos at once and get them like scheduled out for the week. I was really trying to make this whole thing work with working 10-hour days, 5 days a week. Just remember this, if you're trying to get this job or whatever, everything in the interview process is very sugar-coated. Like, oh my gosh, like we have all these things, like, oh, we're gonna offer you tickets so you can enter a raffle to get a free TV. Like we just do these things all the time. Amazon just so amazing. Honestly, not even just Amazon, like anywhere, just be careful because companies love to boost themselves up and give you all the positives and all the great, you know, gooiness, whatever. But once you get on the actual job, then you learn, wow, you lied. Training. Now, training was only one day. I didn't really have too many complaints, I guess, just because training, like, the job wasn't hard. The job in itself was very, very simple. So I didn't have a problem necessarily with it being one day. My main problem with the training situation is that most of the things that I was told were incorrect. It literally would happen at least once a day. I think the most that I got into was like 3 times a day, where a manager would come to me and be like, hey, I noticed that you're doing this wrong on a consistent basis. What's the issue? And I'd be like, well, I'm doing this and this and this and this and that. And they'll be like, oh, well, that's why you're having these issues, because you're not supposed to do this, supposed to do this. And I'm like, well, that's how I was trained. And they're like, well, who trained you? And I'm like, well, so-and-so. And it's like, I don't want to like rat out the person who trained me, but at the same time, like, you're messing with my money. Like, bro, I'm sorry. I don't mean to like throw you under the bus, but if you train me, then you, in my opinion, should be responsible for the information that you provided. Whatever. So during that second week, like when I was considered a full, like, actual employee, I got in trouble because I was late to a break because I got lost. The building is like 4 stories tall. It is a humongous warehouse. Like, I don't think I've seen a warehouse this big. And it makes sense because Amazon is a very, very big retailer. Is that the word? Like, very, very big company. So it makes sense they have a big warehouse, but I just wasn't expecting it. It's just so big. Everything is spread out. So I got lost like 2 or 3 times in the first week just because I didn't know where anything was. Everything is just all over the place. It's just very, very messy. Like, I was just trying to navigate through the warehouse. It was tough. It was tough. I ended up getting in trouble for that, but it is what it is. And in that same like bubble of the warehouse being humongous, they basically told us that, initially they told us that we were gonna be getting 15-minute breaks, like 3 a day. Because we did 10 hours, yeah. 3 15-minute breaks and 1 30-minute break. They didn't tell us until we actually got on the job that it's not actually 15 minutes. It's actually 10 minutes because they give you 2.5 minutes to get to the break room and to get back from the break room. Now, this is the thing about that. Usually, I only got 5 minutes of a break because the break room is in the front of the building on the first floor, okay? If you are on the first floor in the front of the building, you obviously are probably gonna take less than a minute maybe to get to the break room. But if you were on the 3rd or 4th floor in the back of the building, like I was pretty much every single day, you cannot walk there in 2.5 minutes. It's just not possible. And I'm 6'3". My legs are so long, all legs, no dairy. Like, my legs are like, they go all the way up. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I can't make it there in 2.5 minutes, imagine someone who's like 5'2", trying to like, you know, like book into the break room to get enough time to just like get some water and to chill for a second because we're just going. There was one day that I was working and this guy comes up to me and he was just like, hey, you don't really know me and I don't really know you. I've never seen you before, but we got some things to talk about. You're Cedric, right? I was like, yeah? Like, who are you? Like, what you mean you don't know me, but we got some things to talk about if you don't go somewhere? So I noticed that you were late coming back from 2 of your breaks today. What's the problem? They love saying that. What's the problem? What's the issue?
I apologize. I mean, I'm on like the 3rd floor in the back of the building, and so it just takes me a while to get to the break room in the front. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'll try to walk faster. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that, and I understand that that's, unfortunate, but it is your responsibility to leave for your break on time and get back from your break on time. So do whatever you have to do to make that happen.
I mean, what do you want me to do? Like, it literally takes me almost the entire break in just travel time. Like, I don't know, like, how would I even remedy that situation?
Well, personally, I would suggest not even going to the break room at all. Like, just don't even put yourself in that situation. Why don't you, like, look, we have benches over here. Every single break and lunch, I recommend that you sit on one of those benches and just sit.
During your whole break. And mind you, there's no clocks anywhere up there. So you would have to either continuously clock in and out to check the time, or I would have to consistently ask people walking by, hey, what time is it? So you want me to sit over there on the benches and like not eat and just basically consistently ask people walking by, hey, what time is it? So that I know when I need to get back from my break, a break that should be 15 minutes, but you made it 10 minutes, but it's really 5 minutes. It was just so frustrating, especially when you're like situations where they'll be like, oh, we need a lot of people during this time, so we're gonna push your breaks up like 2 hours, meaning you're working like pretty much 4 hours nonstop, just going. I ended up asking him before he left, like, so how late was I? Like, just so I know. He said,
your first break, you were 1.5 minutes late. Your second break, you were 2 minutes late. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, it was a very, very tedious job. And honestly, they told us initially that we needed to either get new shoes or get like some gel insoles so that, because our feet are going to hurt because we're going to be on our feet consistently for 10 hours. But what they don't really mention is everything else. I feel they say you may be a little sore, but I was a lot more than a little sore, especially that first like week, because I didn't get the gel insoles until the second week. But that first week I could barely walk. My feet were killing me, my ankles were killing me, my knees were killing me, my elbows were killing me. I have never had my shoulders, my back, oh my gosh, I have just never been in a situation where like your fingers, like literally, like when I tell you my wrist, this little joint, this little joint, they all hurt on every single finger. It hurt to do this. My whole body was just like exhausted. Like I would come home and then literally sleep all day. Think about it. I'm working 5 days straight for 10 hours and I get 2 days off. That first day, I'm literally sleeping like the entire day. I pretty much don't see sunlight that next day at all because I'm exhausted. Then I wake up the second day and my body is just screaming from every single joint that I have. So then the next day is just spent sitting and just like staring and just drowning in this pain. Like, do you remember the weed commercials where like it would be like, this is Angela. Angela used to be so much fun. We used to always go to Six Flags together. And then it cuts to them like this. Those commercials used to crack me up. 10 hours a day for 5 days straight. Those 2 days off are like crucial. And I did not feel like sitting down, recording a video, uploading the video, editing the video, importing the video. Like there was just a lot. I just wanted to sit. I just wanted to sit and stare at the wall. It would also frustrate me that we're literally like sweating, like pouring in sweat, people. And managers are walking by like, keep it up. And I had multiple managers, but my main manager, she was a woman. I swear, she didn't care at all. Like she would be like, so like, how's your life? Like what's happening outside of work? Like what you doing this weekend? Well, honestly, I'm probably gonna be sleeping a lot because my body is like, okay, yeah, sounds great. This is your goal for today. And if you don't meet this goal and keep it consistent for the entire shift, we're gonna have to start writing you up. Or they would be like, everyone's rates are really, really low and we need to get these up. So we're gonna have a power hour where you guys have to push and push and push as hard as you can. And the winner gets a prize for pushing and pushing through the pain and all that. Guess what the damn prize was? A $10 gift card to In-N-Out Burger. To In-N-Out, I can get 2 meals. I can get like 3 doubles. Thanks. So I come into work one day and I'm working, whatever. I'm like, yes, I get to get off at 5 in the morning. Like I just get to go home and rest and go to sleep. Oh, thank God. I go to take my last break and then we get a notification on our screen saying, guys, remember, it's a 12-hour shift today. Remember? What you mean remember? As if you told me. You guys didn't communicate anything. You just sent out that thing that you can only see at work. It wasn't even an email. It was just like a notification that pops up on your little work screen that says, hey, don't forget, take this break and you have one more break because we're staying for 2 extra hours. Mandatory. You didn't ask. People may have had things to do. There were so many people who were pissed off because they went home. They didn't even see the message because they were like on break or something. And so they just went home and ended up getting like in trouble or a write-up or something because they went home 2 hours early. Like that's not cool. And then that wasn't just that day. They changed it for every single day, which means that now I was going from working 5 days a week, 10-hour shifts to 5 days a week, 12-hour shifts. And it's just so crazy to me that companies are just allowed to do these things. I told you we'd have 1 overtime day and that will be it, but no, we're gonna go ahead and just keep that 5th day on and add 2 extra hours to every single shift. And we're not gonna pay you for it. Don't forget, they don't pay overtime after 8 hours. They pay overtime after 10 hours. So if you aren't the best at math, I got you, boo. Like, we're friends. There are 24 hours in a day. I'm working 12 of them, which leaves 12. If I'm getting the amount of sleep that I should be getting, that's 8 hours, okay? So that is 20 hours of the day gone. Doesn't include driving to and from the establishment. Doesn't include maybe needing to get food on the way home because there's no dinner because everyone ate and I was at work. Doesn't include using the bathroom. Doesn't include coming in the house and just saying hi to everyone and just being present for maybe an hour. And then you have 30 minutes before you have to be back at work. And then you get 2 days off. Your first day is rest, your second day is rest. And then you get to push harder. So then, the same week that they decided, hey, we're just gonna go ahead and add 2 extra hours without your consent or knowledge just because we feel like it, they also decided that I was going to get 2 write-ups. I mean, I guess they didn't decide, I guess I decided, but I don't feel like this is what happened. I went under the rate because I was in pain, I was tired, I could not keep up with the actual rate. One day they came up to me, it was like a Monday or Tuesday, they told me, hey, just so you know, like, your rate is dropping. If you don't pick this up and keep it consistent, we're gonna have to write you up. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I didn't take it too seriously because I'm like, you're really gonna write me up for this? Like, this is so, like, I'm still working, I'm still pushing through a couple hundred items. Like, it's just not, you know, like, I'm still making y'all a bunch of money, but you really just don't care. And then I think not the next day, but the day after the next day, I fell under rate again. Like, again, I can meet it, I can hit it and keep it for a couple hours, but keeping it consistent for 12 hours, it's just way harder than it sounds, you know? So my manager came and she ended up writing me up. And so that was my first write-up of the day. Then I leave for lunch. I go through the metal detectors. That's another thing. They also have metal detectors like the airport. So that adds an extra minute or 2, depending on how many hundred people are trying to get to this locker room to get their things or to the break room. Add that to our break time. So if we're trying to book it to get to the break room, we have to stand in line like we're about to fly to freaking Zimbabwe to get our stuff out of our locker. I go through the metal detector, get my locker, get my phone. I'm sitting in the break room, just kind of scrolling through or whatever, enjoying my break, eating, whatever. I realized that I'm gonna be late for my break. I just wasn't paying attention to the time. So I was like, I have to book it. I have to get there like as soon as I can. So I run, I get myself in the locker, I close it, I lock it, I book it to my station. I get to my station and then I'm just like, all right. Realize that I forgot my phone in my pocket, which normally would not really be an issue. You can just go and put your phone back in your backpack or in your car or in your locker or whatever. But at Amazon, it's a write-up. They had to literally turn my phone on, open the settings app, and write down like the information, like the social number or whatever, the model, the freaking like what update that I had. I was like, girl, if you don't, and she was so rude. I walked out, I was like, ma'am, I'm so sorry. Like, I forgot my phone in my pocket. I haven't done anything. You can check the cameras. I literally walked to my station and walked right back. My locker, I can literally see it. Like, can I just put it in my locker? And she was like, no, I have to write you up. I was like, all right, and she's filling this out, and she's just like, can you open your phone, please? And I'm just like, yeah, for what? And she's just like, I need the information. Like, duh. I'm like, why? Like, what? Why are you talking to me like I should just know these things? I guess, like, you could have been taking pictures of items or writing information down in your notes or, like, just the dumbest, like, y'all ain't that special. And this is, like, the final kicker. This is the straw that just like, I was like, all right, this company really just doesn't care. So that was a day that I took my break like 5 or 10 minutes later than everyone else. I wanted to see if they would allow that. And 2, I wanted to try to avoid that big crowd, especially by the metal detector. Like, I just want to try to get as much of my time back as I can. So I leave, walk through the metal detectors, I go to my locker. Okay, I have to literally act this out, you guys, because honey. So I walk through, I go to the locker room, right? My locker is on the bottom. Like there's just little like squares. And so mine was a square, like literally on like the bottom, like row or whatever. Now in these lockers, they go like kind of long, and then like on the ends, they have like a, can you see me? Yeah, okay. In these lockers, like on the ends, they have like a hole like under. So if you need to like sweep under the locker, like or grab something, whatever, you know, you can do that. Like there's access to below the lockers. So I walk in the locker room, I bend down, hi. I'm like fiddling with my locker, like, come on, I gotta get out of here. Like, I only got 15 minutes or 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. You guys, I get my locker open. I literally went like, pulled it down to open it. And I hear, how can I replicate this noise? I turn around, there are 2 mice eating leftover whatever. If I'm right here, they were like, wait, actually, if I'm right here, they were like, here. Like not far at all. And so I turned around and I let out the gayest screech of my life. And then they proceeded to book it. Like I have never seen an animal run so fast. They both like ran around me and under the lockers. I said, you know what? I am never putting my things in this locker again. I will never be back in this locker room. I went to the manager. I went to a security guard and I was like, hey, There's mice in the locker room. That's an issue. He was just like, okay, well, go to your manager. I go to my manager and I'm like, hey, you know, there's like rodents infesting the facility. Like, She was like, honestly, we've been trying to get the upper, like, you know, people over the warehouse to fix this issue, or at least to look into it for months. Like, it's literally been since like January, and they don't care. And they're probably not gonna care anytime soon. So just watch your feet and watch out. So thank God I don't work there anymore. That place was interesting. I mentioned a lot of negatives, but like the only positives I can think of was that the hiring process was quick. Sometimes they gave us food here and there. It was only twice, but they gave us Chick-fil-A one time, and I was just like, of all places, you had to pick the anti-gay place. And then one day they gave us bananas, which is like, they're like 65 cents at the gas station. So like, thanks. So yeah, it was a lot, but that was my experience on Amazon. That's why I haven't been really posting, but I am back now. So yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out and for listening to me today. I genuinely appreciate it, and I will most definitely be seeing you in the next one.